The parachute block before assembly. 2 whole parts. It's easy, right? Some of the body pieces are attached to sprue. Be careful cutting them off so you don't damage the body panel. This will avoid filling divots in the body later on. I snipped the part from the sprue, but left a large amount of the connecting sprue on the body panel. I then take an X-Acto or Olfa knife and make a precise cut against the body. Next, I do a little sanding to smooth out the part. More of the same will need to be done here. Test fitting is so important with these old kits. Trust nothing. During my test fit, I noticed sinkholes in the plastic from the molding process. These will need to be filled in or sanded out. Hard to see, but at the top of the part is another small sinkhole. I used a Sharpie to highlight where the sinkholes are. This way I know how much is left when I sand. Going, gone. Test fit again, because I don't trust anything. More test fitting reveals why I don't trust anything. The canopy is bent. Instead of trying to straighten it, I decided to glue it in place. It was here I decided to make the whole top of the car removable. Here's the canopy glued in place. I glued the back of the canopy first, then worked my way forward. Once it was solid, I added the hood scoop and glued it too. I decided to sand the rear wheels to add some wear to them. With my paint process and some of the difficulties I was experiencing with the model, I decided to go off script at this point and build with my own process. The front spoiler is all chrome. For my glue to work right, I have to strip it all off. Now that the chrome was sanded away, I glued the struts in, being very mindful to keep them straight. I moved on to the wheels and sanded the back of the chrome pieces. I was guessing glue may be in their future. Here are all my parts prepped for paint. A lot of them will get gray primer. This is the top rear of the body in primer, the bottom of the nose in primer. With my parts in primer, it was time for paint. Using my acrylic art paints, I mixed up what I call Casper red for the main body color. I used tallow blue for the secondary color. I shot the Casper red first. Since I used acrylic art paint, I needed to seal it before I did any masking. The sealer is Quick Shine Floor Finish. I got it from Lowe's. Since this stuff is used for floors, there may be some crunchies in there, so I filtered mine. This is the wheel fairing with about 6 brushed on coats of Quick Shine. This stuff is like water, so you need to be patient with the coats. Here's the nose with just 1 coat of Quick Shine. These parts have about 3 coats. See how the shine deepens with more coats? After about 6 coats of Quick Shine on the body, I did a light sanding. The instructions call for the whole body to be painted metallic red. Looking at the pamphlet and the decal sheet, it's obvious that blue needs to be added to the body for a more accurate model. With some vinyl masking, I covered what I wanted to stay red and shot tallow blue right on top of the red. This gives a weird purple after 1 coat. I kept shooting thin coats of the tallow blue until I got a nice deep blue that almost goes purple. After the paint dried, I removed the vinyl mask. I had 1 flake of the red come off with the masking removal. It happens, and it's not that hard to fix. These are the headers I fabbed up and used Fusion Firm Fluid Silver Foil on. That stuff is real nice. Too bad I didn't end up using them. Here's the engine block in the same Casper red as the body. Notice the cylinder-shaped engine mount. For a better fit, I cut hollow tube and glued it to the mount. When the engine sits in the chassis, the larger mount will make it easier for the chassis to hold it. I painted the heads with Fusion Firm. It looks so good. Too bad I should have waited on that chrome. It dries soft and all the handling messed them up, so I had to sand and repaint them later on. When you paint multiple colors to make stripes on a car, you will get steps in the paint. You can feel them if you run your finger across them. You will need to clear coat the whole body with several layers so you can cleanly sand it all smooth. I had to use my fine sanding sticks for this stuff. I re-cleared the body with the quick shine. You can still see the step in the paint from the color overlays. This will need more layers, more sanding, and more patience. After a couple of days of on again, off again sessions, I had this feeling real smooth. Some areas were easy to smooth out while others needed careful attention. Almost there. The bottom of the body gave me the most trouble. I just had to be patient. So I sanded it with the polisher stick that I have. Then I switched to the polishing side. Here's the result. It's getting close. I used my liquid compound on it, and this is what I got. Not bad. Then I followed with my liquid polish, and it really cleaned up. Here's the body, polished up with the front fairings put in. The decals were the next hurdle. The beautifully printed sheet seems to have let me down here. They broke in several places, but I kept my wits about me and managed to line them up. This level of cracking I've never experienced. For those asking, I used warm water, microset, and microsol. The decals were just too brittle. After 5 minutes of futzing, I got this one lined up pretty good, but poked a hole in it with my toothpick. After a little more movement and drying with a Q-tip, I decided to walk away from this panel. If you look close at the top of the rear fender, you will see little wrinkles. These are cuts I made in the decal while it was on the body. These cuts allow the decal to sit flat as possible on the round surface of the fender. The passenger decal did this to me. The decal sheet was kept straight in the box. Once they were put in water, cracks, cracks, cracks. Not even the thin orange stripes wanted to work with me. Because of how the body panels fit, the orange stripe sits on the top and the bottom of the body with the gap in the middle. This meant more trouble ahead for me.
There may be trouble ahead, but
I had to come up with a way not to lose the pieces that broke off after hitting the water, so I would cut and pull them away. Every piece counts, right? Here's when I realized letting the decals curl in the water would reduce the cracking. They still broke, but they broke less. Thankfully, the murals were the only decals that did not break in the water. I did end up putting a hole in one of them in a dark section. I chose the dark section to manipulate the decal, thinking it would tear, and I was right. The beautiful Casper font in gold leaf was next. Yes, it broke too. The inside of the wheel fairings were ridiculously difficult to do. I ended up bailing on the decals here in a fit of rage. Yep, rage. It took me a week of bench time to get this far with the decals, and I almost quit the model at this point. 2 weeks later, when the decals had fully dried and I cooled off, I decided to separate the top of the body from the bottom. I used a new number 11 X-Acto blade, and this is what I got. In hindsight, I should have ran a coat of quick shine on the stripe before I cut it. That layer of clear might have prevented this devastation. So to prevent further damage, I brushed on some quick shine, and after it dried, I shaved the mating surface on top of the body down with an X-Acto. This left a much cleaner line at the cost of lowering the body a bit. I would have to do the same to the other part so it matches better. The first domino has fallen.
Don't do it to me. I beg you. No.
Nothing. You have nothing to do with this decision.